multivisionradio.com or its advertisers.
Do you know what you're drinking? If you are drinking plastic bottled water, chances are you're consuming plastic contaminants, BPA, and other hormone-disrupting chemicals you cannot see with your naked eye. Those empty plastic bottles take up to 450 years to decompose. In the meantime, plastic bottles are polluting the environment. They are dangerous to the planet and our health. The safer solution is to acquire your own Kangen alkaline water filtration system, and you will never have to buy toxic bottled water again. Help save the planet and drink clean water for less than the price you'll pay for acid plastic bottled water over the next few years. The Kangen technology is the world's most popular, most acquired water immunizer. For more information, you can call or WhatsApp us on 917-207-1307. That's 917-207-1307. Change your water, change your life.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Tell Me. And we are with you this evening and we'll be with you for the next 2 hours or so. This is Tell Me edition, where we at now? 963 for Tell Me. And that's a long time. We have 2 breakfasts for St. John's to give away this evening. All you have to do is to call us and tell us the date. We want the exact date when Tell Me started. And if you can tell us that, you'll win 1 breakfast. Then we'll give you a second for the second question for the other breakfast a little bit later. But let me say good evening and welcome back to Tulu. Tulu, how are you doing?
Mixed emotion, mixed feelings. But I'm absolutely grateful to be here again another Thursday evening. Today I was wondering if I'm going to make it in this evening, but duty calls and I must obey. The affairs of Nevis is much bigger than myself and my family, and so it's wonderful to be here again. And this is another Tell Me program. Good evening, one and all. Welcome.
And Dr. Daly, how have you been?
I'm good.
I looked over and I saw all the passion fruits gone, but you have something else planted there now.
Yeah, we got some pumpkin planted. The first tranche of those pumpkins, the monkeys took those. I hope they leave a few for us. Surprisingly, we never had any issues with them with the passion fruit. I don't think we even lost one single passion fruit. But for some reason, I guess because of the time of year and the weather conditions being very harsh, the lack of fruits and alternatives, they have really pressed the gas on the crop, and so it's difficult. It's mixed emotions when it comes to farming. You 1 minute you're up, next minute you're down, but it's all in all, it is what it is. But let me say good evening to my family, of course, my sisters, Evan and Judith, my brothers, all across the world. Good evening to all of you, and my brother Denny's back in New York, safe and sound. His wife Trilla, hope they're listening and doing well. But all those who have joined the conversation, whether you're in the Facebook feed, whether you are on Twitch, YouTube, or in the FM dial, a special good evening to you and welcome to another edition of Tell Me. Okay?
And I'm going to say good evening to Maria's children as well. Let me say good evening to Mary. Mary is the happiest retired person in the entire world. She's enjoying life. She's out celebrating with her daughter Janet, Dr. Janet Ishmael, who celebrated birthday on the 15th of January. And then I'll say good evening to Irma, Glenda Skelton. She's down in the U.S. Virgin Islands and a little bit under the weather, but she's recovering nicely. Everett is across in Tortola, and Mervet is in New York. And then let me say hello to Trevor, who is at home here with us. And gentlemen, some sad news just before the start of the show. We have lost a member of our family, former police, Mr. Joseph Laibod, chairman of NASPA. We understand passed away this evening. Joseph, of course, was married to one of us. He was married to a Powell. And so he's family to us. And just before coming on the year, my cousin called to confirm the news. And sad as it is, we will miss Joseph Laibod. And we have to say that even before we come to the birthday greetings and so on, because it just put a damper on the whole proceedings. Is your classmate, Dr. Daly?
Yeah, I feel broken up right now, to tell the truth. It hit me really hard. I would have spoken to him when he was in Trinidad with his son, on the emergency flight with his son to Trinidad. And we spoke after he came back. He assured me everything was well with his son. I'm always concerned about him and his son. We go way back. We were classmates from Form 1 till we left. I went off to the States, he stayed around, you know. We used to share jokes, you know. He was very good in math. I was terrible in math. I was very good in English. He was terrible in English. So we used to help each other. All right? And so, you know, when I call him or he calls me, it's always an intelligent conversation. It's always a honest conversation. No holds barred, honest, two gentlemen, two friends, two classmates talking. And I will miss that, you know. I really, really miss that. He was one of the guys I could call, or he felt comfortable to call and say, listen, I was listening to you in the show, I think you got it wrong. Mm-hmm. And we will discuss it. And sometimes he's right and sometimes he's not. But it was never any acrimony. There was never any bad feeling. Anytime we saw each other, it was a hug up or a handshake, how you doing, brother, and things like that. So, you know, say what you want about Joseph Liebert, he was my friend. And bottom line, I felt his friendship. I felt his love. You know, I felt his caring. And this one here, I mean, I hardly have gotten over the loss of Bago. And now this comes up a week later. We laid Bago to rest on Monday. And here comes another one, you know. And I don't know how much more human beings can take in terms of losses. But it's accumulating. It weighs you down. God, these are people you love intimately. These are people you love to be around and have conversations with. And as you get old, you expect your circle of friends to get smaller and smaller, but not so quickly. Mm-hmm. These are persons you envision growing old with, having conversations with, you know, sitting at at the old people's home and talking old talk, and one by one they're going away from me. Mm-hmm. You know, so my condolences to his son, condolences to the family. It's just devastating news for us all, and I will miss him terribly. I will miss him.
Myself and Joseph, we grew up basically together. We ate out of the same pot at the same house. When he was at CSS, I was basically live with his aunt, and so days where we ate lunch 5 days per week. Sometime during vacation, he'll be down, and we hang out together. And you're right, Dr. Daly, there are times when I leave the show, and before I got home, my phone would ring. When I answer, it is Liebert. Mr. Weeks, you all were discussing the so-and-so, and I believe that you got it wrong. I think the last long conversation we had that lasted about 3 hours was when we were discussing this matter of the supervisor of election and people voting without ID and what's not. And he called me, and I drove from town to Gingerland with my phone in my lap, me and he having a conversation. And by the time I got to Gingerland, I spend a great deal of time, me and he going through this thing back and forth, where I'm showing him that I totally disagree with what went on. But it was respected. I understand his view, he understands my view. He will say, listen, I could see why you think that way. I understand why you're thinking that way. And if I did not know what I know, then I would have been thinking like you. And it was a blessing to talk with him. The last time I saw him is the very same day I was discharged from the hospital. I walked down to the ward, let him know that I was discharged, I'm going home. He wished me all the best, and I wished him all the best. And it's only today I told my wife, I have to call Liebert, because since he left the hospital, I haven't called him. Then something came up, I did not call, only to hear now that he is gone. Now you brace yourself for it, is tough. We too, we are going through that. We don't know how long our mom is going to be around. From all appearances, she's on her way out. And so it's coming. The good thing about it is that Libert lived with a hope in Christ. He died with that hope in Christ. And there's a blessed resurrection awaits him. And so, to the rest of the entire family, Carl, you and the others, may the peace of God fill your hearts during this difficult time.
Well, as I said to you, he was alive, but he was married into my family. So as far as I'm concerned, he was
Family.
indeed family. And so I want to reach out and envelope the entire family with love and wish them well. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but we want to wish the entire family well.
Let me say to my daughter Lana to hold on, because Libert and his family adopted her. They were interwoven into one another. These are people who talk every day and share everything, and so I'm sure at this point she's devastated. And so Lana, be of good courage.
Okay. Let's see what we have on the birthday list and bear with us, because this one just completely threw us. So bear with us. Today is Thursday. We don't have any birthdays today, but coming up on the 19th, I have birthdays for Kishma and to my very best friend over there. That's what we call each other, Trevier Smithen. He's celebrating tomorrow. And then on Saturday, my cousin Meredith Hendrickson is celebrating a birthday. And of course, he as well would be devastated by the news of the passing of Libert. They attend the same church and everything. Maya, Retta's granddaughter, will be celebrating on Saturday. And those are what we have for this week. So,
Anything from you, Cool?
No, in terms of birthday, can't recall. Listen, if there was any, and those got out of my mind, because my mind is just on my mother, wrapped up in my mother, so
I'm surprised.
I block out the rest of the world.
okay, let's do the birthday song.
After 3, 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
And as usual, from us in the studio, may you live to be 101, and also 101 minus a day, so we don't have to see you go. May God continue to bless you with good health, strength, of course, wealth.
Okay, we also have to reach out and say strength to the Cornelius family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Lincoln is going to be buried on Saturday morning, and so we reach out to all of the members of the family and the extended family. Of course, our radio family, Sister C, her brother-in-law. And then, of course, we have to reach out to Caroline. She's a niece, and so we reach out to Caroline. And Jen is a family member as well, so we have to reach out. Those two are members of the Navy's Cricket Association and of the Masters. And so, of course, we'll be heading out to celebrate the life of Lincoln with them.
Somebody told me today that Spencer Brown, our mother, was buried today. I did not know she passed. I was surprised when I heard so this evening, sometime close to 6 o'clock, that she passed away. When I was a young boy, she was one of my customers. We used to do calls. I was a veteran at that, and I could bet that if it's one person who's going to come for coal, somewhere between Friday and Saturday, would have been Spencer himself would have come, and then we'd have some money to buy some bread. Especially for Sunday, you know, and we always maintain respect for each other, and I highly respected her. If I had known, I surely would have been at that funeral today, but I didn't have a clue.
I didn't know either. I'm receiving a number of calls. My friends, if you're calling me on a Thursday night between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock, you're unlikely to get me on my personal phone unless we are at a break. So if you're calling me, thank you very much. I'll return the call either later or tomorrow, but definitely not during the course of the show. Lydia, we understand that you're also mourning your uncle, and so we're reaching out to you and enveloping you. Listen, you have absolutely very little idea as to how families in Nevis are integrated until something happens.
It's true.
You know, but our families are so very closely integrated. That is, you just got to be careful and love people.
I see a birthday greeting today for Arlene Jeffer Stanford.
Oh,
Yeah, she's celebrating today. So happy birthday, Arlene. She's one of our consummate listeners, both on Target and on Tell Me. So happy birthday to you.
and let me say to Yvonne, I finally got the message, and I've delivered all of the messages to where they should go. So thank you very much. Okay. I didn't know that Lincoln at one time was a fireman.
Yes.
But somebody just sent me a message to
Yes,
say
he
that he
was.
was once a fireman.
I remember that.
True.
Okay. Okay.
One of my fishing buddies, too.
I'm telling you. Okay, gentlemen, I want to get started. You know that this is track season, and so the schools will be having their sports days coming up just now. You remember last year that we followed the construction of the VIP booth over there at the Mondo track. By my estimation, it cost close to $400,000. Wasn't cheap, was a lot of money. I don't know if the Ministry of Sport is trying to recover the $400,000. But at a meeting this week, they laid down the law. They said that, hey, listen, schools, we want each one of you to come up with $300 to go towards the cleaning costs of the venue.
What?
As serious like a judge.
Nah.
And listen, there are cleaners at government institutions and grounds all around Nevis. You have fellows who are on the pep and step and jump up and walk up, wherever they call them, who work from 6 o'clock in the morning
But-
till 7 o'clock, and then they disappear and get a full week's pay. The schools have been told that each one of the schools taking part in the inter-primary competition will have to get their own food, will have to get their own tents, will have to contribute $300 towards the cost of the cleanup. I'm glad I didn't go to that meeting because some of these don't make sense to me.
But so what? Normally, when budgets are tight, we have used before when I was in agriculture, we would use prisoners to clean before the venue started, and let them come back after the venue is finished. I mean, if the government is really strapped for cash, that would be a good alternative to be. But to ask the schools to come up with $300 for cleaning costs, I mean, it sounds so insulting and belittling. You're talking about a mini Olympics, treated as such, dignitaries of all sorts, and your schools have been asked to pay to clean up.
Mm-hmm.
Where in the world is this possible? So where does the money go?
I have no idea.
When the money is collected from the gate fees, where does it go?
And now wherever it goes, it don't come back out.
It goes into
A black hole.
But I'm really serious. Where does the money go? Does it go back to the schools? Do the schools get any of that money?
Not to the best of my knowledge.
So it goes to Ministry of Education?
There is no profit sharing.
So it goes to the Ministry of
Wherever
Education?
it goes, it stays.
I'm just stunned that we have reduced ourselves to such a level that we are now taxing the schools to participate in an event that the government is making money from. This better not be true. I'm really hoping that somebody misunderstood, and this is outside the ballpark. Really.
And not only that, Dr. Daly and Tulu, you have to take that in context of the fact that last year they spent almost $500,000 doing a VIP lounge. And then you're taxing the schools this year. You could spend $400,000 doing a VIP lounge for the government, and that had nothing to do with the kind of expensive liquor that they had in there. Because they had some serious alcoholic beverages in there.
Top shelf.
Top shelf.
Yeah.
400,000 plus a whole nother set of thousands of dollars.
Food.
And food.
Shrimp.
Exactly. And now you tell the schools, listen,
Find money.
even though you watched us spend the money like we were making the money, you are now being asked to pay $300 per school to participate in the event so that you can clean up after.
Listen, my daughter participated last year and the year before. If that is the situation, she will not participate this year. I can guarantee you that. I was on the edge before because last year, because of the downpour, she got soaked to the bone and still had to go and compete wet because there was no shelter for the kids. There was no shelter for the athletes. Understand? So if this is the position of the government, that they will be extracting from those schools who are doing it at the expense of parents, right? Because parents that they want to face to buy this and buy that for the children to participate, then that's the end of that. That is the end of that. All right?
I just find it distasteful.
It is
I didn't attend the
distasteful.
meeting, but when I heard the report, I said, but this is low. The only thing they could have done worse was to ask the schools to send back the students the next day for them to clean up themselves. But to ask the schools to contribute $300 to the cleanup fee, sorry government, but you're supposed to eat that fee. You have 9 schools, 9 trees at $2,700. You can't tell me that the government is so broke that they can't budget for $2,700 or take that out of whatever you get for the cost of what you charge the vendors outside, what you charge at the gate, to ask the schools to pay $300. I'm sorry, Ministry of Education, Minister of Sport, Minister of Finance, I am not with you on this one. You're going too low.
Well, there still has lower to go now. This administration keep going lower and lower and lower. Then they're not interested in lifting the standard.
They need to retract this nonsense too, and do it publicly. They need to retract it immediately. This is going to have serious backlash. You understand? This is an abomination. It's below anything they ever done with regards to the schools. To be taxing children.
If parents will take the position that, like you said that you will use, then they will do it. Outside of that, they are not going to do it.
I mean, over the years since they built the Mondo track, and even before when we were at the ETW Willett Park, the children have not been, and the coaches have not been properly compensated. I coached Nevis Academy in athletics. And many years ago, after I went to Jamaica and I saw champs and I realized what they were doing, in those years, you're talking 20-something years ago, the winning school for champs in Jamaica got a cash prize. The winning coach, if the coach was qualified, got a cash prize equivalent to what the winning school got. I came back to Nevis and I said, listen, all these coaches work hard. Why not offer a cash incentive? Because all the trophies that they give and so on, some of them are cheap trophies. They turn colors and all kind of thing after a while. So, yes, give medals. But for the school, don't bother with them trophies. Give the school some money because all the schools broke. All the schools have to raise money to buy chalk and various things. Give them a cash prize. And incentivize the coaches by giving them a cash prize as well. All the work these coaches do over there, you still have people peeping at them at various times of the year and saying that this coach has not been to the school, he missed a day this week and he was downtown and so on. But when the coach is training from November and September and so on to get kids ready for April, nobody see them, they don't get any extra pays.
I can tell you for a fact, because like I said, my daughter participated in the mini Olympics twice in 2 years, and the training that is required after school on the weekends by coaches. As far as I know, the coaching day, the week ends at Friday, but the coaches have them on the beach. And I agree with you, Carla. If you have persons going above and beyond what they're required to do, to make sure the children have a good showing, to make sure they can represent properly, to make sure they understand the discipline of training, then of course, I have no difficulty there. But what improvements have been made to the Mondo track?
None. Well, the VIP lounge.
The VIP lounge. Is there any covering that can prevent anybody from getting wet again?
No.
I got soaked to the bone when I was over there last year. What is to prevent me from getting soaked to the bone again? walk with a raincoat, but I wouldn't be going anyway. I would not be going. You understand? I mean, this thing here is an abomination, and I already was on the edge. This has pushed me over the edge.
So last year, the government was blamed for not having enough covering when the rain came down and wet down the athletes. And so this year they are now taking the position, schools, you're responsible to make sure you have adequate covering for your students, your team.
I can't use troops hard enough.
It sounds like that, because if you're saying no to the school that they have to provide their own tents and what's not, then that's what you're saying. We would not take any more blame, any heat for your athlete getting wet in the case rain comes. That is your responsibility.
Listen, we have 2 breakfasts to give away, compliments of Ali. St. John's having breakfast this week, Saturday, and we have 2 to give away. I have the envelope here. Ali told me money is in the envelope, and I trust her. And so let me peep now. Yes, we have enough money in there for 2 breakfasts. If you can call us and tell us what day Tell Me started, you get a breakfast. Simple as that. Just call us and tell us what day Tell Me started. And our numbers are 669-7312, 469-7953, 917-460-2187. Call us and tell us what time Tell Me started. We're taking our first break for the night. When I come back, I have another shocker for you guys.
Do you know what you're drinking? If you are drinking plastic bottled water, chances are you're consuming plastic contaminants, BPA, and other hormone disrupting chemicals you cannot see with your naked eye. Those empty plastic bottles take up to 450 years to decompose. In the meantime, plastic bottles are polluting the environment. They are dangerous to the planet and our health. The safer solution is to acquire your own Kangen alkaline water filtration system, and you'll never have to buy toxic bottled water again. Help save the planet and drink clean water for less than the price you'll pay for acid plastic bottled water over the next few years. The Kangen technology is the world's most popular, most acquired water immunizer. For more information, you can call or WhatsApp us on 917-207-1307. That's 917-207-1307. Change your water, change your life.
Welcome back to Tell Me. We're in episode number 963 of Tell Me. That's how many times we've been on the air with this show. Now, phone is ringing, so let's go to the phone lines. Good evening, caller.
What happened to the birthday song? Happy birthday.
We don't sing that long time. We don't sing that long time, so if you tune in late, we're sorry, but we don't sing the birthday song long ago. I thought that was somebody calling to answer the question and get a free breakfast. Gentlemen, let us remember, last year, we celebrated the 40th anniversary of independence. Big do. I really like the logo. Whoever did that did something brilliant. Really loved it. Looked good. In Nevis, it is customary for us to have a treat at Independence time. Let me go to the phone line. Good evening, caller.
Hey, caller. What do you answer me?
You can't ask me what the answer. Hello?
Listen, you word.
Say again?
1996, right?
1996, you're wrong. We were not on the air in 1996. And when you call me, you got to give me the date, the month, and the year. 1996, you're wrong. Okay. That sounds like my good friend Kevin. We were not on the air in 1996. Okay. So we're accustomed to having a treat at Independence time. Last year we celebrated the big 40th anniversary of independence. And so the government in Nevis, through the Ministry of Education, sent out information to the schools. Listen, go ahead and celebrate. You spend your money, we will refund you later. You are to spend up to a maximum of $25 per student. $25 per student. So a school like CPS, I believe that they are close to 250 students. So that is in excess of $6,000. My own school, Nevis Academy, is a little private school. I'm 25. 120 students at the time. So you're talking close to $3,000. You know, from independence, count with me, October, November, December, January, not one school in Nevis has been given the money that they were promised for the treat, and all of them had the treats. When we tell you that the government in Nevis is broke and broken, all you got to believe. You cannot tell me that big 40th anniversary of independence. Of course the schools deserve a treat. Special occasion.
It's a tradition.
Yeah. Spend $25 per student on your roll. And the schools went ahead in anticipation that they would be refunded. Mind you, these are schools which are struggling to make ends meet at the best of times. And having spent the money,
Can't get it back.
can't get back the money. And then the government come and tell them, oh, by the way, give us $300 for the interprimary.
This I can't even keep a straight face with this nonsense. I mean, I've heard nonsense, in my life, but this is the height of it. To take advantage of the most defenseless people is something that I find abhorrent. It's an aberration. Normally, you make sure that those most vulnerable among us, the old, and feeble, and the young, defenseless, those are your first priorities. You don't try to disadvantage them. You don't try to disadvantage the institutions that are trying to build them up or to care for them. You try to help. And so to extract money from the schools surreptitiously to say we're going to give it back to you and not honor that commitment. I don't care how broke you are. You must be able to find that money to honor that commitment. You must. I mean, you're talking to kids, you're talking to parents, you're talking to teachers who go out there and fundraise day in and day out. You see them on the roads with their cards asking for donation for this. You see the parents in the PTA asking for cleaning detergents or toilet paper for the schools. I know J.D. Keynes works very hard up there at Charlestown Primary, doing a lot of private fundraising that she don't even want anybody to know. Not only for her class, her daughter's class, but for the whole school. And to know that the government is not doing their part to make sure that the children are not taken advantage of and the schools are not taken advantage of is really an aberrant. It's an aberration, and it shouldn't happen. And they need to refund the schools as a matter of priority.
Okay, somebody just messaged me to say they're having an issue, no sound on YouTube. The technician is checking it out. That's the only complaint we got about YouTube. We hope that the rest of it is good and that we are doing good. Okay, let's move to an issue which we have been talking about for quite some time. Timothy Harris, as Prime Minister, gave this 10% raise in St. Kitts. Dr. Drew came and said, okay, all right, I'll back raise, I'll give a little 8%. In Nevis, the Premier, Nevis was broke, so Nevis was only able to afford, according to the Premier, 5%. And then a 5%. And then a final 5% this year. So he gave 15. Nobody asked him for the final 5, but he fast. And so he gave 15% over 3 years. Nevis didn't get the 8%, but I want to tell you something. Mark Brantley got 18% in St. Kitts. Remember that he double dips. And so he got the 10% from Timothy and the 8% from Drew. And he took both. And in Nevis, he took 15%, 555. That is him. But look at what Mark Brantley also did, and I want to bring people in on this aspect of it. By the way, a couple of my friends are saying that they're on YouTube and it's loud and clear. So my good friend who said that you're having issues, check it back. Try to go out and come back in and see if you can get some sound. Look at what Mark Brantley did. As Minister of Finance, he stopped the increments.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm told that increments are normally between 3 and 5%. So for 3 years, he stopped the increment. So the people who have been working diligently, never mind that he cussed the people and said that they was being bars and they're sick and they whatever. He stopped the increment for these hard-working public servants. And having stopped the increments, which would have taken away from these people, and the worst part about it, you stop the increments, and when you get increments, those and raises are what are key for your gratuity and your pension. A little double salary ain't gonna help you with your gratuity and your pension.
Nope.
The raise that you get is on your salary, and it goes on, it can't come back off. So your salary becomes higher, and it is helpful in the calculation of your gratuity and your pension. Mark Brantley stopped the increments for 3 years. And then, when the people supposed to get the 8% raise in Navis, he said, no, we didn't budget for that. But did he budget when he gave the 5% increase? I don't think so. Let's go to the phone lines. Good evening, caller.
April 2022.
Tell me, started April 2022? Man, if I were close beside you, I would have taken out my strap. How can we be doing 963 as the episode and we started last year? No, man, come again. Come again.
No, we're making jokes, man.
Yeah, no, tell me he's old.
The thing about this raise, I mean, it is clear that it caught the Premier left-footed. He had no idea what Dr. Drew was contemplating with the 8% increase. All right? And so he was, they could keep telling people he can't think on his feet. And so he scrambled to find a reason why he shouldn't give it. And so rather than think about it honestly, he started to cuss people and said people don't deserve it. People drinking rum in the bars and all kind of things like that, just to justify the fact that he cannot find the money. If he can't find the money to clean up the Mondo track and to pay back the schools, he can't find the money for additional 8%. It is par for the course. When a rat is cornered, what they do? He lash out at you, right? And so he lash out the public servant and said that basically they don't deserve another 5%. But he collected from the federal government, first instance 10%. He collected then the 8%, and then he collected 15% from the local government. I mean, how much? That's 15 plus 8, that's 33%. He got a 33% overall increase in salary. And he making noise with poor people, but he don't love the poor people, man. He don't like poor people.
But
he ain't not care about people.
I keep hearing the government say that they gave the people of Navis 10%. 5 and 5. Let's take the call.
Hi, good evening, caller.
Good night. Something baffling me, Because if the Brantley got the 8% from the federal administration, 3% will be going into what?
Pension, that's right.
How is it other individuals are not entitled to that?
That's a good question. That's
I hear you. I got you.
That's a good point.
I'll sit down and continue to listen.
All right.
Debate that, please.
That's a good point.
Thank you very much, caller. And he's absolutely right. In Syncits, his 3% is going into his pension fund.
Yeah.
And
but in Navis, they suspended the 3% for this year. For this year. But will the public servants in Navis, will the government be contributing that 3% for the public servants? Has that answered that question?
Would it be made retroactive?
Huh?
I mean, it seems like we're operating in two separate countries. The precedent has always been, once there's an announcement of a salary increase, even though it's made on St. Kitts, it translates to a salary increase on Navis.
Not now. It's changed.
Good evening, caller.
Good night.
Good night.
Tell me, started in 2007.
You are a little bit late. We started before then.
Okay.
Before 2007. Thank you very much.
2006.
Yeah, but you now have to give me the month and the day. I will.
Let me tell you the month. The month was August.
You're late.
Okay.
You're late in the year. You started before August. Thank you very much.
Political vibes and tell me around the same time.
The thing about this 8% is perplexing in many regards. Because the premier is claiming, hey, why you guys are asking for additional 8%? That is for the federal government.
No, that's for Sinkit.
That's for Sinkit, right? It has nothing to do with us. We the NIA, control what we pay in Nevis. But like I said before, every single time there was a federal announcement for pay raise, it translated across the entire public sector on
Yes.
Sinkit
And
on the
Nevis.
Nevis.
And was adopted.
And it was adopted. It was no difficulty, again, phone.
Good evening, caller.
Good evening. The 15th of April 2006?
You're late.
Late?
You're late in the year. It was earlier than that.
Earlier than April?
Earlier than April. Thank you very much.
Good night, Tanya.
No, that does not sound like Tanya.
I thought it sounded like Tanya. Okay.
No.
Yeah, because the point that was raised last week by a caller, we are picking and choosing which of the federal programs we want to support and which we adopt. We don't make no noise with the STEP. The government is the biggest employer of STEP people on the biggest by far, the largest employer of PEP workers. As a matter of fact, businesses are complaining that all the people who have been approved now are going on the government payroll. For the government.
We got two calls coming in. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, Carlisle. I want to pay for a ticket for Tulu and his wife.
Okay, thank you very much.
First.
Thank you very much.
This is Rwanda. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
2005.
Good evening, caller.
Good evening. Did you start January 2005?
You are early. You have the months right, but you have the year wrong, and then you still have to give me the date. So you have the year is wrong. You are too early, but you have the months right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're giving away the hints, boy.
Yes, I have to give hints.
You want to get the breakfast?
I want them to get the breakfast. It's two breakfasts we have.
All right.
So you told Daly, you were on the point that most other things that are done in Sinkits translate to Nevis,
Of course.
and are accepted by the government.
Of course. I mean, I guess he was in the yard when Dr. Zhu was contemplating all these changes and additions to this budget, and so he did not anticipate the 8%. But that as it may, had we been better stewards of the resources we collected from the federal government since 2015 to 2022, an additional 5% or 8% would have made no difference in the overall budget, or hardly any difference.
Good evening, caller.
Is it the 19th of January 2006?
You got it bang on. 19th of January 2006. Can I have the name, please?
Jacqueline France.
Jacqueline France. Okay,
Yes.
I don't know how you're going to get to opposite Panko, because we don't deliver over in your area, but you can have somebody pick up the breakfast. I'll pay for it. 19th of January 2006. You're bang on. Thank you very much, Jacqueline. I'll pay for the breakfast.
Okay, when is the breakfast?
Saturday coming.
This Saturday coming?
This
starting
Saturday
what time?
coming, and we start at 7.
Oh.
And we are going to be there from 7. We're not going to go very late because we want to sell off early so we can go to Lincoln's funeral.
So walk with mine to the funeral.
I can do that. I can do that. I definitely can do that.
Bring it to the funeral for me, please.
I will. And the job is yours to track me down to make sure that you get it.
Thank you. I'll be there.
Okay, thank you very much. And gentlemen, I to give all you a secret. You know why I started on the 19th of January? Because it was my grandmother's birthday. So Ali and Ren kept asking me, when do you plan to start? And then I told them the 19th of January. And Patricia Claxton and I started telling me.
Patricia Clark?
Patricia Claxton.
Yeah, Pat.
Wow.
Pat Claxton and I did tell me for the first at least the first year or so.
I didn't
But
know
we
that.
did quite a few shows.
That's wonderful.
I have another breakfast to give away. And I just want somebody to call in and tell me where were the studios located? For that time, it wasn't 2020. It was, what were it then? Choice. Choice FM. Choice FM. You tell me where in Nevis the studio was located.
That's an easy one.
And that's an easy one. You get a breakfast. Okay? And those would be the two. Oh boy, somebody jumping in right away. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, over by TBN.
TBN, you're absolutely right. right. We were in the TBN building right there. And give me your name. Idella. Della, we're going to be up there at opposite Panko. That's where we'll be.
Okay.
Somebody is calling in. Somebody tell Kevin that Idella done win. Oh, okay, thank you very much. Okay. Good evening, caller. Okay. Idella won. Idella came in first. So tell me, started on the 19th of January 2006. So guess what? We are now 1 day away from our 18th anniversary. 18 years on the year doing, tell me. Let me take this call. Good evening, caller.
Yes, it was upstairs RAM.
No, when we moved from, somebody won the prize already. But when we moved from TBN building, we went upstairs Rams. So that was our second home. But we started in the TBN building 2006. Okay, so the two prizes have been won, and we are back now down to the business of looking at the state and what's happening here with respect to the CCM cherry picking, which rules they are going to accept and which they'll modify. Because Dr. Delia wants this to lead straight into the integrity in public life. Because there's a federal integrity in public life bill.
But Carla, before you get there, I think the people of Nevis needs to be outraged, and the Premier is very shrewd in changing the narrative as he goes along. Because I heard him last week on a program saying that we must get away from saying St. Kitts and Nevis and see yourself as nationals. So there is no St. Kitts and Nevis in his mindset. This is a new thinking that we should have now. After he would have said that the 8% that the Prime Minister gave, which Dr. Daly is right, which for the 40 years of our independence came across the board. But on this occasion, the Premier find it within himself to say that is for St. Kitts and not for Nevis. So he changed the narrative.
Well, you know, it's very upsetting for me. When he was trying to talk about the double salary, just to change the narrative a little bit, I say, could you imagine if 5 people in the same house were to get that? What it mean? I mean, Jesus, anyway.
But they were getting it all the time.
Anyway.
And it was not a problem. But the concerned citizens movements has this idea that they can change the narrative to suit themselves. When it's okay, keep St. Kitts out. When it suits them, we are all one people. So the CCM leadership, and in particular the Premier, seems to want or tell himself that he could decide when a Prime Minister could come to Nevis and when the Prime Minister can't. When Kittitians could be a part of activities in Nevis and when they can't. And when we are all one people, so it's one pool, so all of us are supposed to benefit. He decides the narrative. And so here it is, traditionally for 40 years, when the Prime Minister offer or gave a pay increase, it applies across the board to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
If he had followed Dr. Harris and given the 10%,
no issue.
You would be no problem today. He won't be no problem.
And he didn't have to find that 10% because I listened to a program.
The money always comes from the St. Kitts coffers.
The former Prime Minister said that money was given. So when he's saying to the people that his administration had to find money, I gave, his administration didn't give us nothing.
The money, Dr. Harris made it clear, that money came up to Nevis to cover the 10%.
People need to be told that.
And Brandy decided, I understand, that 5%, he's going to take our 5%, give them, keep at the 5% to pay bills, whatever he did with it, pay government bills, I don't know what he did with it. And then we end up in a situation now where people of St. Kitts will get an additional 8%, while we in Nevis ain't getting nothing.
So while he beat himself on his chest and he boasts and he's saying to the world that the first time ever a government gave 15%, giving people the impression that his administration gave the people of Nevis 50%. No, he gave the people of Nevis 5%. The 10% that he's talking about came from St. Kitts, courtesy of Dr. Harris.
But how is it that we end up in another disparity, Carla? We are public servants in St. Kitts since 2018, 2018 to now, we realize a total of 18% increase, while on Nevis only 15%. So you're working for less money in Nevis? The public service? How is that being fair to the people of Nevis?
The Nevis administration
isn't being fair at all.
He's collecting. Look at this honestly. He has collected from that 10% that Dr. Harris gave, 10%. Now he's collecting the 8% that Dr. gave. That's 18%.
Plus the 5%.
Plus the 15% that he took for himself in Nevis here. That's 15 plus 18. People must understand these things. All right? So he has basically gotten a 30+% increase in his overall salary package, which was already very fat. But he gonna denigrate and say people don't deserve a little increase, although you stop the increment, that one cost of living index adjuster. You have taken it away from people. Come on now.
With Timothy Harris, he told us.
And so I said to Mark, you are spend bad. He said, I have an election coming. I said, you still are spend bad.
And he wasn't lying. Listen, I want to zone in on a couple of things. How much money we owe Bank of Nevis? What is our debt portfolio at Bank of Nevis?
Over 100 million.
If it's over 100 million, that means that we are probably spending about $650,000 a month, the payments.
The overall debt servicing money, I think it's about 3.2 or 3.5 million a month.
But how the hell you can survive if you are paying debts at $3.something million a month?
And you are
yeah. I mean, if the check from St. Kitts is late any 1 month, Nevis is in trouble.
Well, that is why they keep badgering Bank of Nevis for increasing overdraft. They got an overdraft increase in December or January. December, I believe, a $10 million extension of the overdraft. They've been going from pillar to post trying to raise money for the overdraft and to convert the old overdraft into loans. And so
it would be interesting to see where we are with respect to the overdraft, because you have $10 million in overdraft. You want to bet that we are close to having expended the 10 million in the overdraft and we are consistently there?
They're going to get a new one, because remember, they control the bank. They control the bank from top to bottom. They control the board, they control the management, they control the bank. It's the bank. The Bank of Nevis should be called the Bank of the NIA. It is a bank that finances the government activities to what I believe is to the detriment of the bank. I believe the bank is holding too much debt for the NIA. I believe that, right? And it's getting worse. And so I never believed that the government should be owning anything in the banks, but they own the Bank of Nevis. Practically, they own the Bank of Nevis. So they will always get extensions. They'll always get loans. No matter what, they're going to always get through. Because they own the bank.
Okay, we're taking another break. When I come back, I want to switch to Daily's favorite topic, the hospital and the Minister of Health, because I noticed today that there was an announcement that came out that said that they had received the report from the quantity surveyor. So we'll take a break and come back.
Do you know what you're drinking? If you are drinking plastic bottled water, chances are you're consuming plastic contaminants, BPA, and other hormone disrupting chemicals you cannot see with your naked eye. Those empty plastic bottles take up to 450 years to decompose. In the meantime, plastic bottles are polluting the environment. They are dangerous to the planet and our health. The safer solution is to acquire your own Kangen alkaline water filtration system, and you'll never have to buy toxic bottled water again. Help save the planet and drink clean water for less than the price you'll pay for acid plastic bottled water over the next few years. The Kangen technology is the world's most popular, most acquired water immunizer. For more information, you can call or WhatsApp us on 917-207-1307. That's 917-207-1307. Change your water, change your life.
Welcome back to Tell Me. And guess what? Somebody messaged and said, listen, they are paying for breakfast, and so, but they're not going. So they want us to ask another question. So stand by your radios. We're not going to ask the question now, because once Dr. Daly and Tulu get flowing on the hospital project, it's like a thing of beauty. It's like Michael holding off the long run. And so we don't want them interrupted. So we'll ask another question, an easy question. And for that, you will win a breakfast. But let me just pick up on a story here that was written by Tulu's daughter. You know, you got this lovely daughter, Lana Weeks, works for Win FM. Well, she issued a story today. It's been over a year since work on the Alexandra Hospital expansion project was halted, and Nivision soon learned of the need for a quantity survey before the project could restart. In October 2023, Senator Janelle Nisbet, Minister of Health, told WinFM that the Nevis Island administration was finalizing a contract with Medical Design Consultancy to conduct a quantity survey for the Alexandra Hospital expansion project. Senator Nisbet also stated that the results would be done in 2 phases, which would take a combined total of 8 weeks for the submission of the final product. Nisbet on Thursday afternoon, January 18th, 2024, confirmed the NIA's receipt of the quantity survey results. Quote, we have received the quantity survey and the pricing document from the medical design consultancy we contracted. That is now in the hands of our construction manager, and he will continue to lead the project going forward. In addition, the senator said she was uncertain when physical work would resume on the hospital, but having received the document, that signals the restart of the project. And now I'm going to further. Let me stop right there. So. And let me start by saying this. I consulted people who are accustomed to huge construction projects. Every single one of the persons who I spoke to said to me, Mr. Powell, the quantity survey comes in before the start of the project.
Supposed to.
The quantity survey informs the bid. It helps you to come up with the bid. You don't start a project and then say, okay, all right, let us do a quantity survey. What is the point of the quantity survey at that stage? I wasn't happy with that. Well, I was happy with the information. I knew it to be factual, but I said, let me extend it. So I called a couple of retired banker friends of mine. And I said, imagine you're a loans officer. And I come to you with a project, my house, and I do not have a quantity survey. I do not have an estimate. What will you say to me? Powell, you're not ready yet. I said, suppose I tell you, let me build the building, and then I will stop the building when the outside finish, so that I could go and get a quantity surveyor. They say, I would tell you, go look your money elsewhere because your head no good. Can't lend you the bank money. But this is exactly what the Nevis Island administration has done. They started the project, going along full speed, don't have a quantity survey, stop the project for a year, but listen this. They stopped the project after 6 years of work. for a whole year so that they could get a quantity survey from a 2-year-old firm. Now they have the quantity survey. And instead they said to us, we have now submitted the quantity survey that we received to a panel comprising of our engineers in public works, our people from physical planning, the project manager, and they're going to review it and get back to us. They said, no, you notice this release from Mr. Dr. Daly's favorite minister, Janelle Nisbet. They send it straight to the construction manager. So what is the construction manager supposed to do with the quantity survey? Is he going to have it for some time and then advise cabinet? But here what really made me think that Daly might be onto something when he does quarrel with Janelle Nisbet. Janelle Nisbet said, and I better go to the story and quote her because I don't want to say wrong. In addition, the senator said she was uncertain when the physical work would resume at the hospital. But having received the document, that signals the restart of the project. As Martin Powell would say, look, I'm in trouble. Having received the quantity survey, that signals the restart of the project.
Project started already because we have it in
They got the quantity survey. What kind of foolishness is that?
Well, it makes me wonder. I wrote an article on Monday, my first article for the year, questioning the release date for this quantity survey document. And surprisingly, here comes 4 days later. We have it. So when did they get it? Did they get it today? Or they had it all the time and they were sitting on it, not saying anything? Because once they signal it, once they have it, then it signals, of course. They said that was a stumbling block. They said they were waiting for the quantity survey for the last year. Now they have it. Now what excuse can they now give for not starting immediately? They said they have the money. They have not been overspent. They're still under budget. So what now can be the problem? I expect by the end of this month, January, and we want to start seeing the work done. Because you have now what you want. You have the quantity survey. You have the money. You say you haven't spent it. So it should be easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Start the work. Start the work. I agree with you, Carlisle. This is the quantity survey. I find it's a bit innocuous, actually, that they're going to simply send this project document to the construction engineer or the project manager for him to review. He's not the contractor. Is he the contractor? No. He's not the contractor. So is he going to now make these copies available to the contractors? I suppose so. How much did it cost? How much did this project document cost? We are hearing $400,000 as starting price. Is it up to speed? Is it something acceptable? Has PAHO or any other international or regional body approved what this quantity survey is saying? Are we just going on the word of a 2-year-old company that they can send anything, say anything for their money? Is it a professional document that can be reviewed by a panel to say, yes, given the difficulties they've been having, we see that this is a good document to work with, a good template. We will support this. So you receive a document, why not have it reviewed? Why not ask some expert to say, listen, just take a peruse of this document and tell me if it makes any sense. Mm-hmm. We're not experts in this area. We don't want to make any more mistakes. Right? But I don't know if they've done that. Or will they do that? But I'm sure of it that, I'm certain that now that they have the project document in hand, and they promise that the project will start as soon as the quantity survey is released, I really thought that they will be announcing simultaneously that work will begin 1st of February or something of that sort.
Sometime prior, I think the government said that they had somebody doing some sort of documentation for the flow of the hospital, and that they were in receipt of, I think, 400 or 500 pages of documents to deal with that same flow of the hospital. What happened to those documents?
I haven't heard anything about it.
But I believe that the author of the post you just read, Carlisle, and you also intimated it, that you're going to wait till the project that should have been completed to talk about quantity survey. You know, when I learned that there was no equipment schedule, an equipment schedule is basically what Ms. Nisbet is mentioning there about costing for the equipment. And Chef Jeffers Lewis is making an excellent point. You don't walk into a store and buy these things.
No.
You know, they are build out times. A lot of these things you have to order a year out to get them built in time. You know, a lot of the equipment are specialized equipment. You don't go into a store, into Kmart or Walmart, and pick them off the shelves. You know, so what are you going to do? Do the flow and then buy the equipment or order the equipment? The whole thing started wrong, and I fear that it's going to continue to be wrong because you don't have any professional people in the government who recognizes that this started wrong.
Gentlemen, I was around for the construction of the terminal building. I went to more meetings than I care to remember. And this is one of the points that you took great care with in the planning phases, in the design phases, is an airport. So you have to look at the flow. You want to tell me that these people waited until the terminal building was, not the terminal building, the hospital building was built to now remember that the flow of the hospital is important? Good evening, caller, you're live.
Yeah, Carla, that's
Yes.
really so right. Remember, the people of Nevis don't like a government that working, you know. They like a government that does not work for the people but just for themselves in government. Remember the fire NRP because they say you are doing too much in too short of a time. But they hand 4 terms and up there they can't present nothing. If a leader of a country could put the hands up and tell the people in the country, I can't do no more for you. But the people them still vote them in. Something wrong with Nevis people, man. Something really wrong. But what suit the premier is all about himself. He don't like to see Nevis people get money. He prefer give money to foreigners rather than Nevis people. He don't like Nevis people. He only like Nevis people once every 5 years just to vote for them. Yeah? And listen out for you.
I got you. Hear you, caller.
I like this comment by Hugh Charles. And Hugh writes, and this is for the benefit of our person, of course, who are on the YouTube or on the FM dial. And he says the construction manager nor the administration understands medical building regulations. Billy Claxton is not equipped to do this work on his own. He needs plenty help. The manager does not know, and all kind of codes here Hugh is talking about. All right, they need to sit and talk to people who work on this kind of building, and that's exactly what I'm saying. They made it seem as if that the fact that they have now received the quantity survey is all onto itself. That is a done deal. Well, if it's a done deal, how the hell they ain't start yet? How come they ain't start reconstruction yet?
But it is considered that they have started. From the time we got the document in our hands, the project start again. That is what I am getting from there, you know. The moment the document reach into our hands, it is considered that the project has already started.
Your good friend Dr. Bartlett is commenting. Dr. Bartlett is saying, I can't believe that really believe that the government got a legitimate quantity survey.
Well, I'll tell you something. From the moment I saw the name of the company, I called up my good friend Odell in the States. Odell wouldn't mind if I call his name. He's into these things more than me. And you know, for the life of Odell, he could not find this firm that was contracted. None of the big firms that do hospital designs and construction knew anything about this firm. They couldn't find it. But somebody found them and sent them to Nevis, because down here, the premier could piss up in the ear and tell people it's rain falling, and some people going to say this rain tastes nice and salty. I want to make the point that the minister has already seen the quantity survey. If she looked at it, I suspect that she would have looked at the back to see what the final price is, because it must come with prices. So here the minister. Most likely, there will be an overrun from the initial budget. But currently, we are not at that point. We are within the initial projected budget. Madam Minister, I don't want you to insult us. I don't want you to think that we're stupid. I don't want you to think that Nevis people are some dumbos. You, based on this quantity survey that you received from this company that nobody could get any information on, you would have seen the numbers. Having seen the numbers, you damn well know that it is going to be over budget. What we want you to tell us, what are the numbers? What is the implication and the final pricing of the project? Tell us what is included in the numbers that you have seen. And let us know if all the equipment is included. When you finish doing that, because we're not stupid, we understand maths. Give us the numbers and let us work them out ourselves. Because I put my head on a block. This $19 million project is going to end up at close to $50 million.
Listen, anybody who believes that statement that they're still under budget, I got a bridge in Brooklyn I want to sell you. It's called the Brooklyn Bridge. It's for sale. I want to sell it to you. Dirt cheap. This is the most ridiculous statement. They're still holding on to this idea that they're not over budget. So let me ask something. How do you calculate, how do you define over budget? If I borrow $10 million from the bank to do a house, and at $9 million I start the project, you think the interest ain't accumulating? You think charges are not accumulating? You're not paying you're not paying to service the debt? You're paying. Right? The government of Nevis borrowed. Remember the federal government and give them all the money, They borrowed to finance that project. So the debt payments on that loan, you're still on the budget? Given the fact that you're delayed from since 2017? You have not made a single dollar in healthcare charges to divisions, and you're still on the budget, even though Brantley came back after she fumbled in Parliament and say it's closer to 17 million the project has spent, and a year later you're still at 17 million, even though you spent $1.2 million on a quantity survey, you're still at 17.
But remember, they also paid 2 other firms out of America.
Of course. These people really insulting. They're really, really insulting. So all those charges that you have to pay every month to finance this loan that you're about to build a hospital, those not included.
No.
So who's paying them? The money supposed to come out of the project. Who's paying it? This project document cost well over $1 million EC dollars. Well over $1 million EC. Where the money came from? The other consultants that came, all the delays, all the breaking down of walls, digging up of floors, that not included.
So you believe that this quantity surveying thing will cost about $1 million?
It's well over $400,000 US dollars they paid for it.
Those figures are within the range.
Yeah. But we want to hear from the minister, since she has the receipts. Show us the receipts. How much did it cost to get this project document done? It's our money we're entitled to know. When I made a broadcast about the situation in Indian Castle Phase 2, very quickly the premier came up and said, "Oh, we only spent $406,000. Well, okay. So clearly they have the mechanism to deal with these costs, to export the information to us. So tell us, Madam Senator, what does the receipt say about the cost for this quantity survey?
You expect them to tell you?
Of course. It's our money. Why wouldn't they tell us?
But remember the last time that the minister gave us some numbers on the hospital, she was off by almost half. She said they had spent $8 million. She had all the receipts and so on. And the premier came and said, no, the actual figure is 15 million and change. So there's a bit of a credibility problem there as well, Dr. Daly.
That's why I asked if you really believe.
But Dr. Barton asks the right question. How can we accept that this indeed is a legitimate quantity survey of any value? You know, I can't answer that. It'll take a panel of experts, and Hugh Charles has said it. They need to know, get a group of people together who know about this thing to figure out whether what is being suggested by this company, medical design consultancy out of the US, whether the recommendations are workable, are doable,
but
are cost effective.
Days where they should have started before they put down a marker anywhere in the compound. This is where they should have started. You needed to have a team. I spoke to a young man who worked in the field, and he said to me, it's between 21 and 25 persons sit down.
Of course. All specialists.
And all them specialists to put these things together. Not one individual, 20 plus. And so when we started out by putting this thing in one man's hand to design, that's where the problem lies. And we would have already said in the past that we believe that it was done to put money in a political campaign. And so we are going down the road, and we're getting from bad to worse on this project because it started bad, and it's going to continue to go bad until the administration come clean. I cannot take nothing what they said to me in relation to this project.
I would like to see the equipment list, the equipment schedule. I would like to see what they intend to put in.
You think they reach so far, Dr. Daly?
Well, that's what Janet, the young lady, said it. She said the costing is there. So I would expect to see them publish the costing for the equipment, what kind of equipment, because they were saying all sort of fancy things, and the government ain't gonna fancy money. So just like geothermal, we're gonna try to switch in 2017. We might try to switch on this one 2040, you know. But seriously speaking, there needs to be, and there must be a commission of inquiry on this matter. I'm serious. There needs to be a commission of inquiry. How the genesis of this entire project, all of the circumstances of how the contracts were awarded, you know, everything. This is reeking.
Mm-hmm.
If there was ever a test case for a commission of inquiry, this is it. You're talking about tens of millions of dollars of public money, right, on a project of this magnitude, of this significance, and continues to generate controversy. This requires a commission of inquiry. And if the government was worth anything, they themselves would initiate it, but they won't.
But you know, the hospital, this extension to the hospital was supposed to be the marquee project, the legacy, the achievement of Mark Brantley.
Mm-hmm.
This was supposed to be the Mark Brantley Hospital. Let me take this.
Just let him on the truck.
Let me take this phone call. Good evening, caller. Sorry, caller, please call us back. We want to hear from you. There was somebody in the overseas line. But this project was supposed to be Brantley. His picture was supposed to be on all the walls of the hospital.
Of course.
Inside and outside. Because
your picture can't go in the toilet.
You know, the first person who mentioned to me that this project was going wrong when it started in the foundation, it was your friend Kyle Chinny Charles.
Mm-hmm. God bless his soul.
Chinny called me and he discussed this thing with me. He even wanted me to come on the program and discuss it. It was too big for me. I couldn't understand it. So, but he said to me, Mr. Weeks, they dig out, they has the foundation on it, they start the foundation. And when they start the foundation, they find out that what they have is not flowing with the existing. It's supposed to be a continuum of the existing. He says the electrical pipes are wrong, the water pipes are wrong, they don't have anything, proper thing for the drainage to waste and thing. And he said, listen, they're going to stop this project. They stopped it for a short while. And they pick it up right from there and continue. So from way down in the foundation, they knew that they were going wrong. So and rather than stopping right there and get the export help that they need to go in to continue it, they continue going because election was coming up and they want to give the people the impression that they're doing something. But that thing started wrong from the beginning, and they knew it was wrong from the beginning, and they continue to do it for whatever reason.
But any project that is slated to take 48 months, 24 months. 24 months to complete. And you're now into 60 months. It's breathtaking. I mean, it sucks the life out of you to think that you have triple the time that you said you're going to take. The project didn't do a stroke last year for 2023 except to keep breaking down walls inside. But why are they breaking down walls before they get the quantity survey to see how they want the place to flow? You might have to put them back up.
But remember, before they began to break out walls, they had to break out windows.
Yeah, but think about it.
It was all the way.
You're in doing a demolition derby.
And you don't know what to go in.
And you don't know what the quantity survey is going to show.
But we remember, gentlemen, that
the
they
whole
already...
the whole thing is a mock.
But they had 2 sets of people come in here already.
So one tell
I am told that one of the bits of advice that they got was to just listen, forget that you spent some money, demolish the whole thing and start again, because this is going to be expensive for you to retrofit. But they didn't like that advice because according to one of the ministers, boy, if we break down that NRP going to kill us.
Well, let me tell you something. Whether NRP kill them or some other party kill them, this project is a dud. This project is a dud. I mean, D-U-D. Dud. You understand? And to hear the government try to justify and say that, listen, never mind the fact we're not completed. You can get every service and even better from the existing plant. Don't worry about the delays. You know, we'll get there eventually. It's not the same talk about geothermal. The same talk about the Mondo track. The same talk about the oily pier. It's just the same modus operandi. Don't worry about it.
It's accepted by
the
many.
Boats are coming into Wally, aren't they? Children are running the truck, aren't they?
Yeah. Services going at the hospital.
Services going to the hospital, aren't they? So, worry about. You know, we'll get there. Never mind the cost and the idiocy and the frauds operating in this country. Anywhere else in this world, this government will be tossed on their backsides out the door so fast.
And some of them will be in jail.
I'm telling you. But you see, they manipulate the vote. They're bringing all these nondescript voters from Santo Domingo, you know, and fill the polls and feel that they have won. They know they have not won. They have manipulated the poll.
But the people of Nevis lost.
The people of course, lost. I mean, just today, gentlemen, I had a conversation. Very disturbing conversation with a young man who I thought knew better. And sometimes it's best to just walk away from people. But I had to say my piece before walking away. You know? And he's complaining bitterly that things are so bad with him financially. He has a business that's basic on his knees. Can't make no money in Nevis. Losing money, government not studying him. His government, you know, not studying him. But he can't vote for NRP. Because when NRP came in power in 2006, they take some contracts from he. So it's personal. He see the country going to hell in a basket.
Including him.
Including himself.
And continue going to hell.
And continue. And he's like, well, what alternatives are there? I said, excuse me? What alternatives are there?
If you want change, you got to vote for change.
They can vote for change. But they cannot bring themselves to that point. And that is the sad thing about it, because this is a gentleman who always knew support CCA, but I really thought that he was more intuitive. I really thought he was more analytical and had more common sense. Rather than parroting out all this nonsense that Grantley is pushing out there. I was like, this guy has really drunk the blue Kool-Aid. drunk it down to the belly bus. Because I said to him, well, show me something that Bradley has done. But he don't do a lot. I said, okay, let's go to one by one. Tourism, what has he done? Healthcare, what has he done? Finance, what has he done? Quiet. But he can't vote to NRP because NRP took a contract from him or something of that sort. I don't understand these people. Your country, which you say you love, you can't go nowhere else to live. But you're not willing to take a chance on somebody else because you say, well, nobody else there. So continue with the devil because, sometimes people wonder, right? I don't want to digress too much, but sometimes people wonder why slavery lasted so long. Why is it some countries are still being colonized? So we are still colonies like Montserrat and Anguilla. Why? A lot of people have no confidence in their own skill sets, their own leadership, their own people. So the people have to be dictated to be controlled, be directed. Go here, go there, do this, do that. When slavery was on its cusp of ending, there were black people say, well, what are we going to do next?
Mm-hmm. They want to study.
What are we going to do next, master? What are we going to do? Mm-hmm. How are we going to eat? Where are we going to live? What are we going to wear? Totally mind blown from years of telling you that you're less than human.
Those are the house niggers.
Yeah, that conversation reminded me of why it's so difficult for the Caribbean to advance, because we only see individualism. We don't see the pan-Caribbean movement. We don't see pan-Africa. We only see our lone little shell. And even that is crumbling and we still not move.
But we have a classic case. Here you have a man is dying. He's suffering and he said, listen, I prefer die because last year Dr. Daly took a sugar cake from me. But Daly is in a position where Daly is able to give you a whole meal. But you're saying, listen, I prefer starve to death.
Yeah.
Rather than go back to Daly and get a whole meal.
Yeah.
This is what we have here. People who are, I wouldn't say they're brainwashed. I could recall I mentioned some time ago that somebody said, no amount of correct information will persuade an idiot. No matter how you show them truth, and they're looking at it steadfast before them, they will not accept it. You can't do nothing with those type of people. Let's move on with them.
And gentlemen, we're running out of time. It's 9:35. Wow. We're not going to take a break yet, but I want to show you something because somebody sent me a slide today. Apparently Big Lice had a live last night.
Oh,
and the premier was live on his show. Me getting into Big Lice and his business down there. They're going to sort it out. But look at the numbers. The premier got a royal cutoff last night. Big Lice was showing 3.7 thousand persons on his live. And the premier was showing a whopping 41. It's a royal cutoff.
No, the premier's programs is losing more and more followers because his utterances are not relevant. People has now come figure out that this man is a compulsive liar. This man is a compulsive deceiver. This man is a cusser. And he's not doing absolutely anything. And so people are turned away from him. He has lost his relevancy. And he knows that. Okay? And so he'll continue to go down. I was told that somebody put him on the spot to expose him again and found him in another lie. Because they asked him, hey, live in Nevis by the Sitaxi area. In Nevis, you pay and you check to security. Coming back from Singles to Nevis. Or is there any security? Is there any checks? And he told them, yes, there are checks because when you come back over, you have to sign registry to come back over and what's not.
Where? At Reggae Beach?
At Reggae Beach.
Nothing goes on. And he knows that.
I understand that somebody called him and he's on his show and he's saying that. I told the person, listen, I don't listen to the show. But he has to be like telling lie.
Me not believe.
The person told me, Sylvine asked him, called in show and asked him about that security. And he's saying that he know that you have to sign to come back over.
One thing I could tell you, that Zook said that some of you who cuss in the unfinished building go think it's more than he use the pay over the more. Yep.
And he's right.
Some of you use over there more than him.
Listen, this guy has been caught lying and lying and lying. And he do what he's doing because he's aided and abetted by a network that give him the license to do what he's doing.
But before you get all, we were supposed to address the integrity in public life.
Yes.
Matter. Let us do that for a brief moment, because I call you and I call Premier Parry, I call several people to get their opinions. A couple of lawyer friends of mine, I call them to get their opinions on this integrity in public life. I know people are tired of hearing this, but have you ever wondered, gentlemen, why there are 2 integrity in public life commissions? Why is it necessary to have 2?
It's not necessary. Absolute waste of time.
Have you ever considered that? There is one piece of legislation to deal with the anti-corruption. We don't have one in Nevis. The Electoral Commission is one. We have one national security. Why do we need 2 electoral commissions? And why is why even if you have 2, the duplication, why have them so different? Why is the language on the one in Nevis so much weaker than the language on the one in St. Kitts? Why are the amendments that were made to the Nevis ordinance recently and passed and gazetted, why aren't they duplicated on St. Kitts?
Because those in Nevis are stupid, watered down, weak, and
but
backward.
Seriously speaking, when you consider the fact that the Integrity in Public Life Commission is basically a fail-safe mechanism to deal with misfeasance in public office. It is supposed to protect the public from the abuses of government, the excesses of government. So why is it that the legislation is so much weaker on Nevis? What does it say about who we have as governors of this island? That we are accepting amendments to the Integrity in Public Life Act or ordinance that St. Kitts find unacceptable, that St. Kitts find repulsive, that the chairman of the Integrity in Public Life Commission of Nevis finds to be stupid, the changes. Changes to an already weak piece of legislation. And I recall when Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge wrote to the commission asking for an investigation into the Spencer Brand Atlantic View Hotel matter. The letter, I had to read it recently again, very to the point, very academic response by the chairman, but very correct. We have no authority to investigate such matters. Those matters have been taken out of the act for Nevis.
For a specific reason.
Of course, but when the Deputy Governor General signs off on these things, it's very uncomfortable. Because then you have the highest remnant of the colonial era agreeing with the changes and agreeing with the amendments. I don't like that.
Can the person in that office avoid signing these things, seeing that it's passed in Parliament? They have the authority to say, so this is wrong, we're not going to do it?
Once these things are gazetted, it means you have the blessings of the state.
Okay.
Right? They're now law. And my position is this. It's bad enough we have 2 commissions that are operating separately under different regulations, very different regulations. But these regulations, these changes are being sanctioned by the highest authority on Nevis. The Deputy Governor General.
Well, does she has a choice?
Everybody has a choice.
Can she say to the Parliament, hey, you pass this into law in your Parliament, but in my what is moral, ethical, I have sought legal advice, and they say, listen, hey, this is weak, this is watered down, this is stupid, this is what taking us backward, and so therefore I'm not going to sign it.
She can say all of that, and then she can say, and as a result of that, I'm resigning.
Of course.
Okay.
Listen, I don't want to belabor the point, but if we continue to put our heads in the sand, if you continue to dumb down our knowledge as to what is right and what is wrong, we're going to end up with people like Brantley every single time. We're going to end up with people who are dictatorial, who are narcissistic, who are law unto themselves. If people refuse to stand up to say no, not on my watch, the Deputy Governor General is the King's representative. That is a significant position to hold, you know. It's just not ceremonial, you know. They have an obligation to make sure things are done in accordance with law.
So can a governor or deputy governor general overrule the law that was passed in Parliament?
I don't think they can overrule it. I'm not a scholar on those matters, but their sentiments must be expressed. They're owed to the people. The owed to the people to say,
I'm not in favor.
I am not in favor of this.
But
because then it looks like a rubber stamp. It looks like a rubber stamping. If you do not stand up, well, who will? The man on the street, the smallest man on the street who has no power. You see, when powerful people refuse to hold other powerful people account, then the whole system go to hell.
Based on the Constitution, I am the governor or I am the deputy governor. Parliament makes laws. When the Parliament passed the law and said, listen, it's law, I have to come to sign it. Could I say to the premier or the mover of this bill, hey, this is against whatever and whatever, I'm not going to sign it?
Of course you can.
You can do that.
How long will it last after? Because the law becomes effective once it's gazetted. But before it is gazetted, it needs a signature.
So Dr. Dilly is saying, hey, this is wrong. This is
you can't say that it is wrong.
So therefore, I am not going to sign it and I resign.
Put it this way. Put it this way. If I was Deputy Governor General or the Governor General, I would never sign something like that.
So you resign.
I would
But Dr. Daly, the Deputy Governor General has been very silent on this last piece of bullshit that was sent to her
very silent.
by this Parliament here in Nevis.
And the thing about it,
and she would have been on good ground when especially you heard from the chairman that we are going backwards.
That's who she appointed.
Exactly. Hold just a minute.
But unfortunately, instead of us going forward in a better way on Nevis, we are unfortunately going backwards, because the federal legislation did not call for supporting documents. When the amendment was done, it was included. And on the other hand, on Nevis, we are saying, well, if you want to submit, you submit. If you don't want, you don't. So how is a commission to investigate? I mean, you get declarations, and on the face of it, you look and you're saying, well, okay, this declaration is good. So, I mean, it just makes nonsense of the law. But we will try our best to do what we have to do, and we will definitely be knocking on the door of the DPPs. I'm glad you have this stuff already prepared, the forms. And so we will definitely be seeing the charges. So we'll be seeing you very shortly.
You hear something like that from the chairman of the commission.
Appointed by you.
Listen, it must open all your eyes. It must give you cause to think it over. It must make you take up the phone and call the premier of the country and say, sir, based on the concerns, I'm asking you to rethink. But it takes some guts to do that.
A lot of guts.
But that is a lady with a lot of guts.
Yeah, but
a lady with a lot of high moral, ethical, religious integrity.
So that means she agrees then?
Perhaps she didn't see it the way that we are now seeing it.
She's not a dense person.
I know she's brilliant, but
she's very bright.
I know
and
that.
She would have heard all the controversy. She should have heard the statements from the chairman. I mean, how much more room do you give somebody to make a decision as to whether they can join that signature or not? I mean, this is the essence of what her job is, to be a safeguard for the people and to represent the Queen or the King, whoever it is in England. They're the King's representative to the people. You understand? And so, this is not a shining moment in that regard. This is a very dark moment in our evolution as a democracy, when you have even the governor, deputy governor general, being subsumed by the corruption in the government. I mean, these are strong statements, but they are true. If you had no objection, if you voiced no objection to the amendments to the Constitution, and I'm assuming she would have found them as repulsive as the chairman did, then why sign?
Makes no sense.
Why agree? Because by signing, you agree that nothing is wrong.
And by signing, you are saying this is no law.
This is no law.
This is going to be gazetted to be the law of the land.
Exactly.
Because it comes law when it is signed.
Gazette.
When it's gazetted.
You want it gazetted.
You got to turn to the gazette and then.
Because sometimes people get comfortable being in certain privileged positions and do not want to sacrifice or strain that. But can you imagine the effect if the Deputy Governor General had said a word in objection to this?
Mm-hmm.
It'll cause the government, it'll cause tremors.
Yeah, they would have had to rethink.
You said something that remind me of Franklin Brand as the Speaker of the Parliament in St. Kitts. Whatever was going on in the Parliament that did not sit well with him, what he did, said, this is against my conscience or whatever, my moral standard, resign forthwith. I heard that he had a short time to go before he would have secured a pension. But when I think of men like him, with integrity, say, this is against my conscience. This is wrong. I will not subject myself to this. So therefore, I gone.
Gentlemen, I have 3 more breakfasts to give away. Corvin Wilkin put on the Facebook page here that he has he want to sponsor 2. So Corvin, I know you're going to find a way to get the money to us. And another friend of mine said, don't call she name, but she want to sponsor 1. So here is what I will do. I want somebody to call in before us. You can't call any of our names. There were at least 3 other men who sat in as co-host of Tell Me. So you call, you give me one of the names. If you're right, you win a breakfast. If you're wrong, you lose. Don't give me 2 and think you will get 2 breakfasts. Just call in and give me one name of one other gentleman who is not on the show tonight who co-hosted Tell Me. Good evening, caller. Good evening, caller. Somebody call and hung up. They didn't want to win the breakfast. Call us and give us the names of some other males. I have 3 tickets. If you tell us 3 other men who co-hosted Tell Me, you get a ticket. But you just got to give us one name. One name and you win a breakfast. Can't tell me Tulu, can't tell me Dr. Daly, because they're here present with us tonight. Go back and think of other males who hosted Tell Me. Good evening, caller.
Hello, good evening. Hastings.
Hastings Daniel, you win. What's your name?
Denny.
Denny.
Yeah.
Denny, I got you for a breakfast.
That's Denny Library.
Yeah, let me take this other call. Good evening, caller.
Hastings Daniel is the answer.
Yeah, but somebody don't say Hastings, so you got to come up with another name. I'm waiting on you. Give me another name, not Hastings. Somebody won with that already.
Henry?
No, sorry. let's take the other call. Good evening, caller.
Hello?
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Sean Springett.
Sean Springett, and you're absolutely correct. What's your name?
Andrea Weeks.
Andrea Weeks?
Yes.
Andrea Weeks, we're going to be opposite Panko from 7 o'clock. Thank you very much. Let's take this other call and see if they have this right. Good evening. Good evening, caller.
Hastings Daniel.
Somebody won with Hastings already, so you got to come up with another name. You can't say Hastings, you can't say Sean, because somebody won with those already. Okay. Good evening, caller. Hello, good evening, caller.
Hello?
Good evening, caller.
Llewellyn, Paris?
Llewellyn Paris, and you're absolutely right. So the 3 tickets have been won. What's your name? Say again? Cicely Hobson. Okay, good evening, Cicely Hobson. And you won a breakfast too. So all the breakfast done. Thank you very much. If there are other people who want to sponsor, we're still here. Okay, thank you very much. Somebody else is calling, but all the sponsors, the sponsored breakfasts are gone. Good evening, caller. All the sponsored breakfasts are done. So if you're calling for the question, I'm sorry, but if you're calling to tell us you want to sponsor some more breakfasts, I'm with you. Anybody who want to sponsor some more breakfasts, we're with you. We have already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 breakfasts already gone. So that's $100 that the St. John's constituency show of. Those overseas who sponsor, tell me how you're going to get the money to me, and I will make sure that I put it in. Miss Lenny Leibard want to sponsor 5 breakfasts. Listen, if you're out, Lenny, I accept it, and I know that you know how to get in touch with me. So listen, we got to get 5 more questions, gentlemen. We got to get 5 more questions.
When it was Toodle's birthday.
We got 5 more breakfasts. Listen, we're going to take a little break because we got to come up with these 5 questions fast. I wonder if this is somebody sponsoring, because we ain't asked the question yet and the phone ringing. Good evening, caller. We're not hearing you clearly.
Who was Patrick's son?
Who was
Patrick's son.
Patrick's son?
Son.
Patrick John.
No. Listen, this program is called Tell Me. We're not good at answering questions. So you tell us.
Patrick John was the Prime Minister of Dominica, and he went to jail. And I want to believe the Deputy Governor and even protecting somebody and Nevis.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, and you have to give me the evidence on that.
No, this is just what Charles thing, justice and the good shepherd. This is about Patrick John was in jail today. Google good shepherd. I will find out what he's enough. Google it, and you will find out how you say Patrick John right, you know? Google it. Google it to tell you good right.
Right.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's take a break, gentlemen, and see if we can come up with 5 questions.
If you are drinking plastic bottled water, chances are you're consuming plastic contaminants, BPA, and other hormone disrupting chemicals you cannot see with your naked eye. Those empty plastic bottles take up to 450 years to decompose. In the meantime, plastic bottles are polluting the environment. They are dangerous to the planet and our health. The safer solution is to acquire your own Kangen alkaline water filtration system, and you'll never have to buy toxic bottled water again. Help save the planet and drink clean water for less than the price you'll pay for acid plastic bottled water over the next few years. The Kangen technology is the world's most popular, most acquired water immunizer. For more information, you can call or WhatsApp us on 917-207-1307. That's 917-207-1307. Change your water, change your life.
Let us put our hands together for Papa Wheeler.
to shout for me. Boy, I want them to roar, boy, roar for me. Boy, if you don't know I want in you, but I bang them, they go ball foul. Talking about irregularities, boy. They go be up and down, tumbling. The pattern don't pick coming. Boy, heading south. I'm bringing in these Indians. Boy, from the north, mi amiga and amigos. Como esta BNB da. Land in this fiesta. Bring them to shout for me. I want them to roar, boy, roar for me, boy. I go be mashing down the complex. Yes, if they don't rob me king, boy, I don't really like the doctor placing the campus suicide bomber, boy. Bring them to shout for me. I want them to roar, boy, roar for me. Anything you want, you go get, boy. I'm mixing up the soca with some Hindi and some rumba, chutney and labadira. ID no necessary, boy. Fiscal lips and mercenary.
Listen, welcome back to Tell Me, and we're with you. We have 5 more breakfasts to give away for the breakfast on Saturday. So, what I want you to tell me now, this question, you remember back in 2002, that was in 2005, 6. You remember the Premier of Nevis now had a party? I want somebody call me and tell me what was the name of the party he was about to launch. Somebody call me, tell me. 2005, 6.
Yeah.
He tried to launch a party when he said that Van Samry was fast asleep. Somebody tell me what was the name of the party. I want you to remind me. Call me and tell me the answer to that question. You win a breakfast. As simple as that.
Can I guess?
You can guess, but you can't win. We got 5 breakfasts. Remember, the man tried to form a party. Went about recruiting people.
Including me.
Including you?
Tried to recruit me.
Where he tried to recruit Pat too.
Yes, well, he did tell me that Pat was the one of his candidates. The other one that he was looking at was Oral Martin for St. Thomas's and Paulie Van Wilkin for St. James.
Man, it sound like you were on the inside. Good evening, caller.
I wasn't there, no.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Tell party.
Time will tell, man. You got it good.
Who is that?
People don't forget. Give me your name.
Dion Flanders.
Dion Flanders. You're absolutely right. The time will tell party.
Time will tell party. That's true.
Listen, we got more breakfast. There were 2 Libods who are named among the founding fathers for the NRP. 2 Libods. I want you to call me. I gave you the last name. Give me the first names. 2 Libods are named among the founding fathers for NRP. Call me and give me the names. Somebody calling already. Good evening, caller.
How well is saying? What the man name is? Ron Zeppelin Libod and Julie Libod and father and some dog.
You got to give me Julie Libod father name. You got half, but we now give half a breakfast. So give me Zephaniah, give me the other Libod name.
Begin with a H.
Okay, call back. Good evening, caller. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The late Harris Libod.
Harris Libod, you're absolutely correct. Give me the name.
Jeanette Tyson.
Jeanette, somebody gonna have to come to collect your breakfast, cause me ain't think you're here.
Yes, Charlotte will collect it.
Charlotte will collect your breakfast. Okay, thank you very much. You are indeed a winner. We still have more questions. Ron Libod built a number of boats here in Nevis. The late Ron Libod built a number of boats here in Nevis. I want somebody to call me and give me the name of the first boat that he built. Ron Leibard's first boat. You give me that, you win a breakfast. See how easy that is.
We could find any photos of those boats anywhere.
Of course. Of course. Good evening, caller.
Hello?
Yes, good evening.
Woman Libad.
No. If that was to the Libard question, no, Herman wasn't there as one of the founders. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. And that question has been answered as well. So let me see who is calling. Good evening, caller. Good evening, caller. Okay, there is no answer on that one. We're looking for the name of Ron Leibard's first boat. Good evening, caller.
Effort.
No, sorry, no. Effort is the more popular boat, but that was not his first boat. Let me cross over to this other line. Good evening, caller.
Native Son.
No, sorry.
MV Effort.
That's not what we were told. No, sorry. Good evening, caller. Hi, good evening, caller. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
MB Lavina.
You got it. Give me your name.
Carol Libard Ward.
Carol Libard Ward. Thank you very much, Carol. Okay. I mean, could you imagine Carol couldn't remember her father's name to go with Zephaniah Libard's name to win a breakfast, but she remembered the name of the boat. Carol, yes, I chat in your business. Her father was one of the founding fathers of the Nevis Reformation Party. True. Gentlemen, we still got 2 more questions to go, you know? We still got 2 more breakfasts, and we want to make it easy, you know. Back in the 80s, a club here in Nevis built the first egg farm. You remember that one? Give me the name of the club and you win a breakfast. Hello, good evening, caller. Good evening, caller. Hello, good evening. Good evening, caller. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, good evening.
Good evening, caller.
SJCIC.
You got it. You got it. You got it right. And this sound like Cabo.
Definitely.
Okay. And the final question, we're gonna make it so easy for you. Tell us who sponsor. Tell me. Simple as that. Who sponsor? Tell me. We play the ad every single night. Good evening, caller. Hello, good evening, caller. Caller? That is on, but we're not getting the call, so we're going to end that. And we're going to go across to this line. Good evening, caller.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hello, Kangen Water.
Kangen Water. You're absolutely right. And your name?
Marilyn Holiday.
Marilyn Holiday. We'll have a breakfast for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So, all of those have been won, and we want to thank all of our callers for calling in this evening. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 breakfasts, and all of those have been won. So, and it's 10 o'clock, it's 2 minutes after 10 o'clock. We want to thank you very much. I wish that on a regular basis people would call in to make some contributions.
I would sponsor 1 breakfast.
And you have a question?
Yeah. Anybody can tell me? Anybody can?
Go ahead, Daly.
If you can tell me my middle name, I get breakfast.
Dr. Daly say if you tell him his middle name, you get a breakfast. Dr. Daly, I don't know. Tell me Dr. Daly's middle name, and you get a breakfast.
Somebody don't answer the sponsor?
Yes. But we have one more. Tell me Dr. Daly's middle name, and you get a breakfast.
Let me know about that.
Okay, let me see if somebody else know. Good evening. Hi, good evening. Tell me Dr. Daly's middle name and you get another breakfast.
All right, Cabo. Listen, I
Yes.
want to donate the breakfast to the first person who called from St. John.
The first person who called from St. John's. Okay, me gonna hang up the phone from you. If you are calling from St. John's, Cabo will donate his breakfast to you. Somebody from St. John's. And we got to find your name and the list and the voters list. So if you're on the voters list in St. John's, you call me, you get a breakfast. But make sure your name is on the voters list in St. John's, because we can check. So the first person who calls me and we can find your name on the voters list in St. John's, Millie called too early.
So there are two questions out there right now. two things out there.
Good evening. Hi, good evening.
Yasmin Hanley. I am on the list.
Yasmin Hanley. Yasmin, check us for breakfast Saturday morning.
But I want you to give it to somebody who is like a shut-in, like an elderly person.
All right. Dr. Bartlett, you'll collect that one. So
Yes,
Dr. Bartlett, that's one for you. Collect that one. And that is yours to donate to somebody there in St.
I
John's.
want you to give it to somebody in the St. John's community, like an elderly shut-in
Yeah,
person.
Dr. Bartlett know them.
Yeah.
Dr. Bartlett know them very well, so she will do that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Hi, good evening, caller. Good evening, caller.
Millicent Cornelius.
Millie, you're a little late. Somebody don't fuss you. Somebody don't fuss you. My Yasmin don't fuss you. Thank you very much.
So there one question out there.
Which one? No, all of them answered. Dr. Daly's middle name.
Yeah, that's still out there.
Yeah, if anybody could tell us that before we close down, you get a breakfast.
You see what Dr. Clark really said?
No, let me see.
You see what I want to say?
Well, what she said?
Loretta need Jesus. I'm shocked that my cousin Tanya don't know your middle name.
I mean, Tanya, don't you know my first name?
Closing statements too.
That was your good neighbor. Well, let me thank all of those who would have sponsored breakfast for the St. John's breakfast this week. Thank you to Randa for sponsoring for myself and my wife, and to all others. Thanks for joining us again on this another Spirited Tell Me program. Looking forward to being with you, hopefully on Saturday for On Target.
Thank you very much, Dr. Daly.
So, people go in on Google trying to find me. That is funny. Okay, well.
So what's your name, middle name, Dr. Daly? Don't tell us yet. The program not closed yet. Go ahead.
They will never get it. It's a stupid name.
So what?
Well, I'm going to give you a story on my names when you finish.
I just thank all those who would have joined the conversation, and each one teach one. I think we come here on a Thursday evening or on a Saturday to educate and to inform and to be informed ourselves. And so anytime we can share is always a good thing. Let us see if we get a call, everybody.
Hi, good evening, caller.
Is Dr. Daly's middle name Trevon?
Trevon?
No.
No, he said no. Thank you very much.
That's my son's name, but close to my son's name.
Ah.
Like that.
Yeah, while you collect your thoughts, I give you one.
But
I'm told that my father used to, in the old days on a Saturday afternoon, you gathered around the transistor, and that is how you got the scores in the English Premier League. And so you used to hear Liverpool 1, Everton 0, and so on. And people play the Vernon's pools. I think my father was a betting man. And the clubs that he liked were Carlisle United and Everton United. So later as I grew older, I became very grateful because I found out that there was a team named Scunthorpe United.
Oh, Lord.
So I am glad that he didn't put my name as Scunthorpe, because I know wicked people like Dr. Daly would have shortened my name.
Oh, definitely. definitely.
That would not have been good.
So Carla Leverton?
But Angela,
Yes.
Angela Hanley said she don't think I have a middle name.
Angela is my friend, so I ain't getting in that. Listen, we thank you guys for being a part of the show. And you are the reason why we come here week after week, because you tune in to listen, tune in to watch, and you make it fun and interesting for us. We like to get the information out there to the people, and we keep saying that, listen, we just deal in truth. And we are not in the business of trying to change our story. There are some people out there who tell you one thing and they get a little pushback and they go and they change their narrative. We don't do that. So we want to thank you once again for being a part of the show. There's an overseas call coming in daily. I hope that is one of your brothers or sisters who know your name and that they're calling in. Good evening, caller. Hello, good evening, caller. Okay, no, the person is not answering us. So we're going to end off the show there for tonight and tell you that we're going to be back with you next week. Until then, be good.
Yeah, the call coming.
Introducing L&J Pharmacy Plus, the ultimate destination for all your